Beringian Wolf. The Beringian wolf was not a fantasy Ice Age monster. It was a real gray wolf form built for a colder, heavier world. This extinct wolf lived in ancient Beringia, the Ice Age region linking Alaska, Yukon, and northeastern Siberia, when sea levels were lower. It moved through open steppe tundra, where mammoths, horses, bison, muskoxen, and other large animals shaped the food chain. At first glance, it was still a wolf, but the skull tells a different story. Beringian wolves had shorter, broader skulls, stronger jaws, and larger carnassial teeth than many modern wolves. Those are the slicing teeth used to cut meat. That means this animal was adapted for big prey and hard feeding, not just chasing rabbits, not just scavenging scraps, bones, frozen carcasses, thick hides, and huge Ice Age herbivores were part of its world. The DNA makes it even more interesting. Researchers studying ancient remains found mitochondrial DNA lineages in Beringian wolves that are not shared with modern wolves. Instead, they connect to other late Pleistocene wolves from Eurasia, showing Ice Age wolf history was more complex than one simple ancestor line. So the Beringian wolf was not a separate monster species. It was an extinct wolf ecomorph, a specialized body type shaped by environment, prey, and survival. When the Ice Age ended, many large prey animals vanished, climates changed, and this powerful wolf form disappeared with the world that created it. The Beringian wolf remains fascinating because bones and DNA reveal a predator built for an Ice Age ecosystem that no longer exists. Hokkaido Wolf. The Hokkaido wolf was Japan's northern wolf, and it was closer to the wolves of cold mainland Asia than to a tiny island dog. Also called the Azo wolf, it lived on Hokkaido, where forests, snowfields, rivers, deer, and expanding ranchland all met at the edge of modern Japan. This was not the small Honshu wolf. The Hokkaido wolf stood roughly 70 to 80 centimeters at the shoulder, with a stronger gray wolf build suited to cold northern country. Its body was made for distance, winter, and large prey. Long legs carried it through deep snow. Thick fur protected it against freezing wind. Strong jaws helped it feed on deer, carcasses, and whatever the harsh island could provide. The most interesting part is the DNA. Studies of ancient remains show the Ezo wolf belonged to a different Japanese wolf lineage from the Honshu wolf. Its mitochondrial DNA connects it to northern gray wolves, suggesting its ancestors reached Hokkaido through the Sakhalin route when Ice Age land connections made movement possible. So this wolf was not just an extinct animal. It was a genetic footprint of a colder map. Then humans changed the island quickly. During the Meiji period, Hokkaido was open for ranching and agriculture. Wolves were treated as livestock enemies, poisoned with strychnine, hunted through bounty systems, and pushed out as their world disappeared. By the late 1800s, the Hokkaido wolf was gone. The Hokkaido wolf remains fascinating because its bones and DNA reveal a northern predator erased by modernization, almost as fast as science could name it. Newfoundland Wolf. The Newfoundland wolf was the island ghost of eastern Canada. And its story is strange because the wolf disappeared before science fully understood what it was. This extinct gray wolf form lived on the island of Newfoundland, separated from mainland wolves by water, ice, forests, bogs, and caribou country. It is usually listed as Canis lupus beathucus, a Newfoundland wolf subspecies, though some modern taxonomy treats it as uncertain or folded into broader North American gray wolf groups. That uncertainty makes it more interesting, not less. Old descriptions suggest a pale, white-looking wolf with a slender build. Its world was not open prairie or Arctic ice. It was island forest, harsh winters, rocky barrens, and moving caribou herds. Biologically, its main weapon would have been endurance. A wolf on Newfoundland had to follow prey through snow, timber, wetlands, and broken ground, using scent, teamwork, and patience instead of explosive speed. The DNA story adds a twist. Modern genetic testing has confirmed that occasional wolves found on Newfoundland in recent times were Labrador wolves crossing from the mainland, likely over sea ice. That does not bring back the extinct Newfoundland wolf. It shows how thin the boundary between island and mainland once could be. The original wolf declined. As humans expanded, caribou were pressured, livestock conflict grew, and predators were hunted and poisoned. By the early 1900s, it was gone. The Newfoundland wolf remains fascinating because it is both an extinct animal and an unfinished question, a pale island predator erased before its biology could be decoded. Cascade Mountains Wolf. The Cascade Mountains Wolf is one of the trickier extinct wolves because its name sounds simple, but the biology is not. Usually listed as Canis lupus fuscus, it was the dark wolf of the Pacific Northwest, associated with western Washington, Oregon, coastal British Columbia, and the Cascade region. It was not a giant Ice Age beast. It was a forest wolf. Older descriptions connected it with darker brown or cinnamon coloring, suited to wet coastal forests, shadowed valleys, salmon rivers, elk country, and mountain edges where trees could swallow an animal whole. That is what makes it interesting. A wolf in this landscape did not live like an open plains runner. It hunted through timber, snow, rain, steep slopes, and thick cover, using scent, patience, pack pressure, and sudden appearances between trees. The DNA story adds a modern twist. Genetic work on Pacific Northwest wolves suggests coastal wolves have a distinct evolutionary history from continental wolves. That lineage would include the old Cascade wolf name, but scientists do not always treat every old subspecies label as a clean separate branch, so the Cascade Mountains wolf is best understood carefully. It was a historical gray wolf form of the Pacific Northwest, now extinct or vanished from much of its original U.S. range, while related coastal wolf lineages survive farther north. Its decline came from livestock conflict, trapping, poisoning, bounty killing, and expanding settlement. The Cascade Mountains wolf remains fascinating because it sits between history and genetics, a dark forest predator whose name survived after its original population disappeared. Southern Rocky Mountain Wolf. The Southern Rocky Mountain Wolf is an extinct wolf whose name survives better than its body. Usually listed as Canis lupus youngi, it once belonged to the country of Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, northern Arizona, and northern New Mexico. This was not a tiny desert lobo. Older descriptions placed it as a medium-sized, pale gray wolf, closer to the Great Plains wolf than to the smaller Mexican wolf farther south. That matters because this wolf lived in a border zone between ecosystems, mountains, plateaus, canyons, open parks, and cold forests where elk, deer, pronghorn, rabbits, carcasses, and livestock shaped its world. Its biology was built around distance and altitude. Long legs, strong jaws, thick winter fur, and pack hunting helped it move through snow, rock, timber, and dry high country where prey could disappear behind the next ridge. The DNA side is complicated. Modern genetics does not make every old wolf subspecies perfectly clean. Some scientists treat youngi as part of the broader Great Plains wolf group, while older taxonomy kept it as a separate Southern Rocky Mountain form. So this wolf is interesting because it sits in the messy middle. Skull measurements, geography, old specimens, and genetics all arguing over where one wolf ended and another began. Human pressure ended that argument on the landscape. Trapping, poisoning, bounty killing, settlement, and livestock conflict erased wolves from much of the Southern Rockies. The Southern Rocky Mountain Wolf remains fascinating because it was both a real mountain predator and a taxonomic ghost left behind by a vanished frontier. Sicilian Wolf. The Sicilian wolf was Italy's island wolf, and isolation changed its story. This extinct wolf lived only on Sicily, where mountains, forests, dry hills, farms, and villages created a smaller, tighter world than mainland Europe. It is now usually described as Canis lupus cristaldi, a recently recognized extinct gray wolf subspecies based on museum specimens, skull measurements, and ancient DNA. Its body reflected island life. The Sicilian wolf was described as relatively slender, with shorter legs and a lighter tawny coat than the mainland Italian wolf. It was a wolf of Sicilian ridges, wooded valleys, livestock trails, and the remaining wild prey of a crowded island. The DNA makes the story darker. Genomic work on the few surviving museum specimens suggests the Sicilian wolf had low genetic diversity and a complicated history involving isolation and ancient dog admixture. In simple words, this was a small island wolf population with very little room left to recover if pressure increased. Then humans closed the trap. As agriculture expanded and livestock conflict grew, wolves were hunted, poisoned, and blamed for losses. The last confirmed specimen was shot near Bellolampo, Palermo in 1924, though later reports remain uncertain and difficult to verify. By the time scientists could read its genes properly, the animal had already vanished. Only skins, skulls, and fragments were left to speak from museum drawers. The Sicilian wolf remains fascinating because DNA, bones, and old museum specimens reveal an island predator erased before its full story could be told.